dive. Today, we're taking a really interesting plunge, I think, into leadership.
Yeah, specifically using this compilation called Leadership Axioms.
That's right. Defining Mondays and cultivating availability. And our mission for you listening is to pull out some really key nuggets here.
Nuggets about how leaders, well, how they shape the work week and also how they handle being available
Yeah.
or not.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut, maybe, to getting beyond the usual buzzwords on these topics.
Because there's some nuance here that's pretty important.
Totally. I mean, you hear Mondays or leader availability, and you might think, okay, got it.
Right. Heard it all before.
Yeah. But these axioms, they offer some perspectives that honestly might make you rethink things a bit,
They definitely challenge some common ideas and offer some practical stuff too.
which is the goal, right?
Yeah.
To make you more informed, whether you're actually leading or just, part of a team observing leadership.
And that's why these particular axioms feel so relevant now. I mean, today's work environments are so dynamic, sometimes uncertain.
Hmm.
Understanding how a leader influences that weekly rhythm or how they approach accessibility, it affects everything.
Morale, resilience, productivity, the whole package.
Exactly. It's not just for the execs, it's useful for anyone trying to work effectively in a team.
Okay, let's dive in then. First up is leadership rule #87.
Ah, the Monday one.
Yeah, it asks this question. How do we define Mondays for our staff?
And we all know the feeling, right? That sort of Monday morning dread.
Oh yeah, the cultural script is strong on that one.
But this axiom, it doesn't just accept that. It says seize the opportunity.
Okay, seize the opportunity of Monday. How?
Well, the source paints this picture. It's quite evocative, actually. It says something like, may last week's lessons become this week's launch pad,
Oh, I like that. Launchpad, yeah.
propelling us forward with wisdom and resilience, building momentum towards, our highest aspirations.
So it's not just damage control for the weekend ending. It's about actively starting something positive.
Precisely. It's a leader's deliberate move to set a growth-oriented tone right from the get-go. Think about that psychological shift.
Instead of dragging into the week, you're launching. That's a big difference.
Huge.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. The axiom clarifies. When I say define, I mean by way of our own behaviors.
Ah, okay. So not a memo or a slogan.
Nope. It's about what the leader does, their actions. How does that work? How does behavior define Monday?
Well, that distinction is critical, isn't it? A leader's actions on Monday morning, they're like a signal flare.
Setting the tone.
More than just tone, maybe. It shapes the team's actual mindset, their approach to problems, their outlook for the whole week.
Okay, give me an example. What kind of behavior are we talking about?
So imagine a leader showing up Monday, clearly focused, maybe referencing a challenge from last week, but framing it as a learning point.
Right. Not dwelling, but building on it.
Exactly. And showing genuine enthusiasm for the week's goals. That energy, it's contagious, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
So instead of just a task list, maybe they start with a quick huddle, acknowledge a win, frame the week's priority with some inspiration.
It demonstrates that shift, like you said, from reflection to action.
Or maybe ensuring decisions made Friday are already moving forward Monday morning, showing that momentum.
Or using Monday morning for, say, collaborative brainstorming instead of just status reports.
Yes. That kind of proactive engagement, that visible energy says, we're launching, not recovering.
And the flip side is also true, I guess. If the leader seems disorganized or downbeat.
Oh, absolutely. That negativity or passivity can just sink the team's energy right at the start.
So the axiom is really pushing you, listener, to think about your own actions, particularly early in the week. How do you contribute to that definition?
Yeah, it's an active choice. A performance almost, but an authentic one that inspires.
That makes total sense. Presence and intention matter more than policy. Okay, speaking of presence, let's shift gears a bit.
To availability.
Exactly. Leadership rule, #44. It says, availability is arguably your greatest ability.
Now that one sounds intriguing, especially today.
Right. With all the talk about work-life balance, boundaries, disconnecting,
Yeah.
this sounds almost provocative.
It does, but the axiom immediately adds nuance. There's this great anecdote from the leader in the source.
Okay.
They say, when I'm on vacation, I tell my team, I might not always be available, but I'm never inaccessible.
Ah, okay, that's a crucial difference. Available versus inaccessible.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
It's not saying be on 24/7, checking emails constantly while you're trying to relax.
Right, not tethered.
No. It's about a reliable accessibility for the truly critical stuff, setting expectations that, yes, I'm recharging, but there is a way to reach me if the sky's falling.
That really nails the tension, though, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
source mentions this balance between life and work, but also the heavy responsibilities of specifically executive leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And it says executives specifically never allow for a complete disconnect while on vacation. Why do you think it singles out executives like that?
Well, I think it points to the scope of their responsibility, right? The ultimate accountability.
Okay.
While disconnecting is vital for everyone's well-being, for an executive, some decisions, they just have massive organization-wide impact.
Like major crises,
Yeah.
strategic shifts,
Yeah.
things that don't wait for your PTO schedule.
Exactly. A merger, a huge legal issue, something affecting potentially thousands of people, they might need to weigh in.
So a complete disconnect might just not be feasible at that level sometimes.
That seems to be the argument. But the axiom also makes this really important point. It says achieving that disconnect says a lot about the team you have.
Right, I noticed that too. What does that imply?
It implies strong delegation, doesn't it? A capable, empowered team that can handle a lot without escalating.
So building that team enables the leader to disconnect more.
Precisely. It's about building trust and redundancy. But even with the best team, the axiom suggests there are some things.
Some fires.
Yeah, exactly. That leads right into the fire scenario it describes.
It says, but there might come a time where there's a Sue, and us, being at the top of the food chain, should be prepared to be the first line of defense and the last man-woman standing.
Wow. Yeah, first line of defense, last one standing. That's pretty stark.
So what does that really mean in practice? Is it about swooping in? How does it fit with empowering the team?
I don't think it means micromanaging from afar or undermining the team. It's more about strategic readiness.
Okay.
It's being that ultimate backstop for true crises, situations that escalate beyond what the team is equipped or authorized to handle.
The really high-stakes stuff.
Exactly, where a complex top-level decision is needed, maybe one that impacts the whole organization's future.
So being never inaccessible provides that safety net.
That's how I read it. It builds this deep sense of trust and security. The team knows that ultimately support is there if things go really wrong.
And paradoxically, that might empower them more, knowing the backstop exists.
I think so. It lets them take more ownership, knowing they aren't completely alone if a true emergency hits. It's not about solving every problem for them.
But being the final call when absolutely necessary.
Right. So for you, the listener, it raises that question. How do you create that balance? Support without dependency, empowerment with accountability.
That's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah?
Wow. Okay, so putting these two together, defining Mondays through behavior and managing accessibility versus availability.
Yeah.
They seem different,
Yeah.
but they both point back to the leader's impact, right? Through their example, their presence, even their potential presence.
Absolutely. If you connect them to the bigger picture, they look like two sides of the same coin, maybe.
How so?
Well, the leader's proactive behavior on Monday sets the initial energy, the purpose.
The launch pad idea.
Right. And then the nuanced approach to availability, never truly inaccessible, builds that underlying security and trust.
So one provides the push, the other provides the safety net.
Kinda, yeah. Both together help create a team that feels supported, motivated, secure enough to actually perform at its best.
Safe enough to innovate, take risks, handle challenges.
Because they know there's that leadership bedrock there. Which brings up a question for you, listener. How does seeing these two axioms together shift your view of effective leadership?
Whether you're in charge or just observing, how does it challenge what you thought was important?
Yeah.
That's a really powerful connection. Okay, so let's try to distill the key takeaways for you.
Go for it.
First, recognize your power, anyone's power, really to shape the start of the week through intentional behavior. It's not just for managers.
Actions speak volumes, especially on a Monday.
And second, really grasp that distinction between availability being constantly on and accessibility being reachable for critical moments, especially in leadership.
That balance is key. It respects personal time, but acknowledges ultimate responsibility.
Right. These ideas, hopefully, make you more informed, more thoughtful about leadership in action.
And maybe one final thought to leave you with, building on all this.
Okay.
How might you, even if you're not a formal leader, apply that principle of defining Mondays with your behavior? Or how might understanding that available, inaccessible distinction change how you interact with your own leaders or team?
Thinking about how it applies personally, even without the title. That's a great point. It's a mindset shift available to everyone.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these really quite insightful leadership axioms.
Hope it sparks some thoughts.
We certainly hope so. We encourage you to reflect on these ideas in your own work life.